Good morning. I'm relatively new to the congregation. I've been here, I guess, a year in March. And my generosity story is about bread, not the loaves and fishes. And you know that one already. No, this one's about East Coast Italian bread. Right? It's that golden brown, crunchy, crispy crust with the airy deliciousness inside, right? So before I get to the bread, a little bit about one of my brothers. He suffered with some addictions during his life. And the good news is he's doing much better now. But I could see as he was struggling in those days, sometimes he couldn't even look beyond himself, right? It was all about, how can I get through this day? And it's not just for folks with addictions, right? We all have days and challenges in our lives where it's just hard, and it's hard to think about, how do I give of myself? You can't even, your mind's not even there thinking about sharing or giving, right? And it was in this period of his time that I invited him to come and help me serve dinner and prepare it for several homeless families. In my former congregation back east, many of the churches there, we had a program where the homeless families, they would actually stay overnight in our church 1 week at a time, and we would cook them dinner. And I love to cook them dinner. So I was thrilled my brother decided he was going to come and help. And watching him as he was serving them, talking with the guests, you could see this light coming in his eyes. It was like he was coming alive. And for weeks after this experience, he would call me, and he just wanted to talk about that experience. He was like, that was awesome. He's like, I felt so good. I felt so good that I could do something for somebody else. I wasn't even thinking I could. And he felt that little something that we feel, that warmth, when we give, right? And Acts 20, verse 35, there's a phrase, it is more blessed to give. Oh no, it is more blessed to give than it is to receive. And he experienced that. Okay, so now I was talking about homeless. I worked in New York City for a couple of years, and like Fort Collins, in your day-to-day routine, you're likely to encounter unhoused people, right? And there were a lot of people in my life growing up that they'd always tell me, and they were well-intentioned, but it was like, do not take your wallet out while you're walking around New York City. Don't talk to strangers, be careful. And this one disturbed me a lot. Do not give to anybody out on the streets, because you don't know if that's going to go for good or if it might fuel an addiction or whatever problem. And I hear this, and I also have the teachings of Jesus, which says, love your neighbor, live generously, be generous. And it was like this conflict in my head all the time. So I came up with a plan. I decided that when I would go down for lunch, I would get whatever I was getting for myself. I would get another one, the same portion, for somebody out on the street. So the first day I did this, I went and I got that Italian sandwich, the one with prosciutto. It had the fresh buffalo mozzarella, some arugula, had the drizzled balsamic, and then that just gorgeous Italian bread, right? And sorry if I'm making you hungry. I'm making myself hungry. And I got a second one. And so I go walking around the blocks, and I see this gentleman. He's crouched down against like a white concrete wall. There's some fencing there, and there's some construction going on behind him. So I walk on up, and I'm like, hey, because you know, in New York, you do not say hello. You do not say hi. Lord knows you do not say howdy. It's like, hey. And I said, hey, I have an extra sandwich. Would you like it? And he's like, sure. So I hand it to him, and as he's unwrapping the white paper off of it, and he's, getting ready to eat it, I'm babbling on about the construction behind him, and I'm watching him, and he looks up at me. And he goes, thank you for this sandwich, but those of us on the street have bad teeth. We can't eat this bread. Soft bread is better. Ooh. Talk about humbling. So what did I do in that moment? I crouched down and I said to him, first of all, thank you for letting me know. I didn't realize. And I said, well, what do you need? He said, I need sneakers. I didn't have any sneakers on me. But what did I do? I opened up my wallet in the middle of New York City, and I handed money to a stranger. And I trusted. I trusted that in that moment, this is what I was being called to do by my Lord and Savior. I did not have that nice, warm, fuzzy feeling. I still don't to this day. But this was a gift to me. This was a gift because it's taught me and it reminds me that I need to ask questions. I need to understand the situation better. And I need to trust and discern what is God's will and His calling of me to do, not what I want to do. So, I'm happy to share this little story with you this week because, as you know, we have our congregational meeting, dinner this week, which I'm happy to be a part of and planning that. And this is a time for us as a congregation to come, ask questions, learn, and discern what it is that God is calling us to do going forward. So I'm looking forward to seeing you, a lot of you there, so I get to meet more people. And I have to thank you guys because you have been a very welcoming congregation, and I think you are a gift to me. So thank you very much.